Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Chris and Amanda's Song Swap Showdown. Down. Welcome, everybody, to another exciting episode of the show. And today I'm super excited because it took 3 seasons, three
Three
seasons
seasons.
for unknown reasons to do an all hip hop episode, but not just any hip hop, 1980s hip hop. So I'm super excited about this. I don't really know why it took us so long to do that.
I don't either.
But I'm happy this was your idea. And I'm so happy you brought it up. You're like, Chris, I think we should do an all 80s hip hop episode. And I'm like, whoa, yeah, I would, yes.
Like within seconds. Okay, sounds great. Perfect.
Yeah. That is awesome. Yeah, I'm super excited, and hopefully everybody who's hanging out with us live right now on the feed, and anybody else, if you're watching or listening to replay of this, let us know. We threw it in our Facebook group. Let us know what your favorite 80s hip hop songs are. We got a lot of great comments and feedback in the group. If you're not in our Facebook group, make sure you use the link in the show notes in the video description to join it. It's free. It's fun. We're always posting stuff in there, and it's a great place that the community is ever growing. If this is your first time listening to the Song Swap Showdown or watching the Song Swap Showdown, well, welcome, and we are so happy you're here. We're so happy that you chose to spend a little bit of your precious time with us. As the show normally works is Amanda and I each swap 3 songs with each other that we don't think the other has ever heard before, and we write those songs on an ever complicated scale of 1 to 5 records, with 1 being a dumpster fire. Get it out of here. I don't want to hear it. No, delete, block, whatever. I don't want that song is trash. All the way up to a 5 record rating, which is, of course, oh, where'd it go? Where did the sound effect? There it goes.
I timed it terribly.
My sound effects pot doesn't seem to be wanting to work. All
Where's
right, so
the
anyway,
angels? Where is the angels?
I'm like, where are the angels? I'm looking at this right now. I'm like, why my sound effects pot is not working? So guess what? We'll be editing that in. I'm like, I'm hitting the button not working. Well, that one works.
That works.
Oh wait, hold on. Let's try to say heavenly music to our ears.
There we are.
The button was stuck.
I mean, it's so much better than my
I don't know. Let's try. Let's see. Although I do like the Amanda. I don't know. They both sound pretty heavenly to me.
Oh, well, thank you, Chris Baglio.
Well, you're welcome. You're absolutely welcome. So, yes. So, Amanda, as we already told everybody, where was the we're doing this episode now, finally. Like, how did this come about? What was your inspiration between letting me know that we should do an 80s hip hop episode?
And I think it was just a random fluke. I was listening to a Debbie Gibson station on Spotify.
I can't wait to hear the rest of the story.
And a Fresh Prince and DJ Jazzy Jeff song just popped in there. And we all know, if anyone's listened to our show for a length of time, they have made it onto my song list on several occasions.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, we should do like rap hip hop, because this is about the only kind of rapping Amanda can do, is that 80s, early 90s, rapping. This new stuff,
not for you.
It's just so hard.
No trap, no mumble.
No, I feel like
back rapping.
No, where the 80s, like rap hip hop, they rap very correctly.
Correctly.
Correctly. Okay. Like, okay, here's the situation. Like, my parents went away on a week vacation. They're speaking just at a really different, like a rapping cadence versus actually like rapping.
Right. Well, every genre has an evolution, right? So
they do.
When you look at everything, and where it starts and where it goes are oftentimes two very different things. But you know what? With all things in music, things do come back. So Things are very cyclical that way. So
I am here for it. Like, if Owen gets into the car and is like, "Mom, listen to this," and I can just, like, bust it out,
yeah,
oh, that'll be a day I will, like, be so excited.
that'll be your big day.
That'll be my big day, and Chris, you're gonna hear about it because 'cause you'll be the first person I message and say, "Chris, I just got to look like a superstar."
Love it. I
So,
love it.
that is how this '80s hip hop slash rap-ish episode came to be. It was just a general day
Yeah.
listening to my Debbie Gibson channel, and boom, here we are.
So if anybody is keeping track or score at home, if you're a regular, contributor or listener of the show, or you're part of our community, oftentimes in my head, I do want to visualize this. I have what's considered the Amanda algorithm,
Mhm.
and sometimes I feel like I have it figured out, but I'm always still amazed on how one thing leads to the next. And so the Debbie Gibson station leading to like 80s hip hop is very fascinating to me. Very, very fascinating. I now need to add that onto the chart of like how Amanda's mind works
The big
musically.
serial killer chart
Yeah, the big serial killer chart where it's like connected with the
with the
string and the
pins
and
and
the
the
pin.
string.
Yeah. So a connection to Debbie Gibson to hip hop.
Straight line.
So it seems like a straight line.
It's just a straight line. I mean, it was boom, there.
Just right there. Well, I love it. And so I'm really happy though that yeah, I don't know why it took us 3 seasons to
Yeah.
do an all hip hop episode, but definitely very happy we are doing it because I definitely like 80s hip hop a lot. I'm going to say I'll admit I'm not like this huge connoisseur of 80s hip hop. I don't know like every single duo or group or artist. I
Mhm,
definitely have my favorites for sure.
mhm,
And which are the ones I listen to still.
mhm,
And but I love it. And there's also a lot of like 90s hip hop, which I think, a lot of
mhm,
people also love that era. I think that's a great era too. It was a
mhm,
good to me that was a really cool evolution from 80s hip hop to 90s hip hop, and then the 2000s to where we are now. There's hits and misses for me. Like there's things I go, wow, that is really good, and then things I'm just like, yeah, that's not for me. But hey, I think that's with any kind of music and any kind of. I mean, with metal, punk, hardcore,
mhm,
I'm like,
mhm.
hey, that's really good. This is not very good. So I'm
Yeah,
sure you feel like that too in the country genre of like things that are sort of hits and misses for yourself.
absolutely, and Owen will listen to a lot of the new rap slash stuff like that, and I think my biggest thing with it is it has so much offensive language in it
Mm,
that I
that's your
don't
that
feel like I can sing it.
yeah. I will tell you that it is very uncomfortable at times when the girls are listening to songs and you know, certain artists come on and I'm like, "Ooh, this is tough for a dad to listen to with his daughters singing it." Even though both my girls are like basically adults at this point.
Full adults.
Um full adults, it's still a little still like,
Yeah.
ugh."
Yes, I agree. So if the language and sometimes maybe the lyrics weren't so abrasive, I probably would like it a little more.
Right. Right. Well, but that's also what makes hip hop too. So,
You're right.
is the fact that it's just it's unfiltered and
Yeah.
it just say what you're gonna say and that's it. So I also respect that immensely as well, as much as sometimes it makes me feel uncomfortable
Yeah.
in front of my daughters. I also respect it as well. So I
Absolutely.
think that there's something for everybody for sure. So
Absolutely.
all right, so let's dive into this because I think we've got a really good collection of tunes
I
to
do
to
too.
to talk about today. And I would say for me, being a child of the 80s, having been born in 1974, definitely hip hop coming on. I mean, my exposure to hip hop was full on
Mhm.
MTV, Run DMC, like first like for real like hip hop artist to me that just like came on MTV with their music, and I was just like, wow. And of course, I already knows Walk This Way and all that with Aerosmith, but
Yeah.
like even more so, like one of the songs is on my list. But like that was like my first like indoctrination, I would say, into the world of like hip hop and being like, wow, this is like so different from like Van Halen and Iron Maiden and Ozzy and Led Zeppelin and the
Yeah.
Beatles, like, which is
Mhm.
kind of all and Kiss. Like it's pretty much up to that point is pretty much all I was listening to is just, rock music and rock radio. And so, and then here comes Run DMC, these three guys from Queens just like tearing it up. Like,
Yeah.
in a style that I just was like not used to hearing. And I was like, this is really interesting and very cool. I was, and that was kind of it. I was like, that was like my gateway into like, you know, now another genre of music that like I totally wasn't even like listening to much before, so I remember that. It was great. I thought that was an awesome way to sort of get introduced into the world of hip hop for myself. How about you? How did you even start listening to is because I know you weren't an MTV
No, I
baby.
was
Like
not allowed to watch
there was no
MTV.
MTV on in your home,
No.
so you didn't get the Yo MTV Raps experience or anything like that, which was awesome, by the way. So I'm gonna assume that your hip hop experience came from either the roller rink or just pop radio in your area.
Yes, so the roller rink, like, huge contributor to me knowing so many of these songs, and then the others, like, filtrated through my older sisters.
There you go. The older sibling route.
Yes.
There you go.
Yep. If they had a car, I was able to hear music that maybe we wouldn't have listened to in our home
Mhm.
inside a car. So it was a little
Ah.
different, but I was hooked. I was
Yeah,
hooked. I felt so cool being able to sing those songs. Now, mind you, I did not know what any of them really meant. I just
right.
sang the words.
You just sang the lyrics. You
I
didn't
just
stop to really think about what was going on in some of these songs.
No, like, I was so oblivious, so naive, still am to so much degree as we've discovered on this show over
Yeah.
and over, but it was like I'm mute to the words of the song. Half the time I
Mhm.
get them wrong, we know that, right? I make up lyrics all the time. But, yeah, some of these songs, even listening back and going and making our list for this week and listening,
Mhm.
I'm like, "Wow, I didn't realize that's what this was about?"
Yeah, I'm
Huh?
sure that you probably had some eye-opening experiences, doing the research for
Yeah.
this episode.
And some of them that I would have maybe put on their list, the more I, like, looked into it, I was like, "I don't know that that's appropriate."
Well,
You
it's
know, to
appropriate.
play on our show, So, I'll share some
Hmm.
of those behind the scenes
Okay.
with you, Chris.
I would like to hear some of those behind the scenes. So,
And you'll be
all right.
like, "They're not bad, Amanda."
I'm like, oh,
Yeah, she's so crazy.
your definition of inappropriate sometimes is, but that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
know your limits and your levels.
that's right,
Yeah.
that's right.
If it's not but horror movie stuff is totally like on
Oh,
on the level. Yeah.
unfazed.
Unfazed.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so let's get into it.
Mhm.
I'm gonna go first today,
Okay, I was hoping you would.
if you don't mind. So
Yes.
your first pick to me,
Mhm.
your first swapped song to me this week was "Girls Ain't Nothing But Trouble" by DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince.
Yeah.
Man,
Woo!
what a good tune, and this was one that I hadn't heard in a long time. So I appreciate you, sharing this one with me because I hadn't heard this one in a while. And, I listen to a lot of times I listen to, LL Cool J's Rock the Bells on Sirius XM, which is a
Mm,
great if you like, you know, 80s rap, hip hop for sure. Like that is definitely the station because they do a really good job playing a lot of great songs. But I hadn't heard this one yet on there. And
mhm.
so I don't know if I'm just missing it or they're just not playing it. But
Sure.
anyway, I was really happy that because I'd kind of forgotten about this song, about this
Mhm.
girls ain't nothing but trouble. But I'll tell you, listening to it again was great because you realize like how genius this song is, and that's the other thing too is like the amount of sampling that went on in the 80s. And that'll be a big thing we'll keep talking about throughout this whole episode with a lot of these songs. The sampling in the 80s was great. But definitely at a time, which is why the difference, especially in the evolution of the songs, because of licensing, right? In
Yeah.
the early 80s, for those babies out there that are listening to this that don't know, you were basically allowed to sample whatever you wanted because there were no laws in place for sampling. It was not anything that was ever done before. So that just also goes to show you like how revolutionary like hip hop was and how they would take songs, be influenced and mix them and basically make
Yeah.
them into new music, which I
Mhm.
always thought was great to like take an existing song and actually make something new and create. That's
Mhm.
another reason why I just love hip hop so much. But back in the 80s, you like a lot of these artists and they got really creative with doing some amazing things. And then eventually, you got to the point where these artists were like, hey, these records are selling like a lot. And, you're using a piece of my music in your song. Like, I get you're
Yeah.
creating something new, but like, where's my piece of the pie?
Of
And
course.
and there became the start of like a lot of lawsuits and now the laws are very clear on that. But back then there weren't any. And so a lot of this stuff was being written and kind of, being done for the first time. So coming back to DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince with this song "Girls Ain't Nothing But Trouble," what I love is the "I Dream of Jeannie"
Yes.
sample that's like prevalent throughout. I'm like, oh my god! Like, can you like? I feel like none of
Mhm.
that kind of stuff is done anymore because it's just too expensive to do.
Yes.
But like, oh, what a time to be alive where like you could write a song with the I Dream of Jeannie theme song
Yeah.
behind you and make a whole new piece of music about it. I love that stuff. I love it. By the way, all these songs are available on our Spotify playlist, which features every song that Amanda and I talk about on the show for 2023. So we have them separated up by last 3 years. So just look for Song Swap Showdown 2023 playlist, or you can use the link in the description or the description, the show notes and the
Mhm.
description, all that stuff. Anyway, so this song was actually from if anybody can remember, all the way back to 1986. 1986 with Rock the House was where this record came the song came off of this record, and that is Girls Ain't Nothing But Trouble. And so talking about lyrics, Amanda Sharp, now in doing and me too, I will say I did not really stop to listen.
Uh-huh.
And this was a song I did not stop to listen to because we
Mhm.
were so wrapped up in like, oh, girls ain't nothing but trouble. Like, of course, being
Which
a
is so
yeah.
true, but
Back in 1986, I was in 7th grade, or yeah, I was in like either 6th or 7th grade when the song came out. And I remember it, and it's like, oh, it's kind of like fun, right? But then you
yeah.
realize that the song itself is a little like
Yeah.
it's a little so in the song Will Smith wines and dines a young lady who screams rape, takes his wallet and runs. The cops show up and arrest him for aggravated assault. It seems shockingly that this was played for comedy, but the song was so clearly novelty that it escaped scrutiny. And that's coming from songfacts.com.
Yeah.
It goes on to say the rest of the song is more conventional. The next verse finds him at a girl's place when her boyfriend walks in, forcing him to escape out the window in his underwear. Finally, he shows up to take a girl on a date, but she takes so long to get ready that he falls asleep. But it's like, but that's the thing. Like when you really like stop, listen to these lyrics a little bit more closely, like you're like, oh my
Mhm.
gosh, like that's kind of that's a little like gets accused. The girl streams rape, steals his wallet, and he gets arrested for aggravated. It's like crazy. Um, so of course, yeah, the song features the sample of "I Dream of Jeannie," which once
Mhm.
again just, and I think that helps too.
Mhm.
Thinking about that, like how the song is a little like heavy, like, and it
Yeah.
kind of gets more straightforward, but like the "I Dream of Jeannie" theme song, like as the root, kind of keeps it like light and fun because you
Yeah.
can't like help it, like, oh,
Very.
this is gonna be a light and fun song, and while it is, it's kind of yeah, it's kind of dealing with some stuff, you know.
Agreed, agreed. Well, like, in their, song, "Parents Just Don't Understand," when he's in the
Mhm.
car with a 12-year-old runaway, like, "What?" Like,
Right.
"What?"
Like, they had a great, and I think it's because of, like, obviously the breakout success and, like,
Yeah.
just being the how talented the 2 of them are.
Mhm.
But they really were able to kinda take some serious stuff and, like, add, like, I don't know, make it, like, comedy in a way, but, like, still
Mhm.
have it but very accessible. Like, they definitely had a sound, and like right away, like you said it, like, oh, there it is. That's my
There it
sound. And it's
is.
like that
Yeah.
the DJ Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince sound is definitely recognizable. So this was released in 86 on an independent Philly label called Word Records, and it was later renamed Word Up Records. It actually didn't chart at first in America at all, but it got the attention of major label Jive, home to early hip hop acts Houdini and Kool Moe Dee, which signed the duo and issued the first album, Rock the House. In 1987, their second album, He's the DJ, I'm the Rapper, took off in 1988. Jive reissued Girls Ain't Nothing But Trouble as a single, and that time it reached number 57 on the charts. So, and of course, I think everybody remembers the breakout of He's the DJ, I'm the Rapper, because that's where we had a lot of big hits on that one. So, but yeah, I remember these videos at MTV. This video was actually directed by Scott Calvert, who created the movie, who directed the film The Basketball Diaries. So for any Basketball Diaries fans out there is a line directly from Scott Calvert from Basketball Diaries to DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince.
And I love speaking of the videos, just all of those kind of 80s hip hop videos. It was one of those things where they always were like, here's the video, there's the camera, and they're like always going up in it. Like, it's so iconic. Like, you can see it and go, this was from the 80s.
Yeah, and actually it actually goes on to say here in Song Facts is that Calvert developed a distinct look for the video using colorful graffiti, outlandish costumes and props, and manic sequences shot with a fisheye lens. The style became the template for future DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince videos, including Parents Just Don't Understand, and was also used as a look for the opening sequence of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, which Calvert directed. So he actually directed the opening of that. Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah. So, let's now, where does this rate? Right. So let's look at it from a ratings standpoint.
Talk to me. Talk to me.
Where does the song rate on a scale of 1 to 5 records?
Okay.
So if I'm gonna put this up against some of the other Fresh Prince songs that are out there, I like this one because I feel like this Parents Just Don't Understand was the first song I heard, and then I heard this, which makes sense because they re-released it.
Sure.
So I like this song. I think Parents Just Don't Understand is a little bit more like, just because it was the first one I heard, so I feel like I'm a little bit more like, there's an emotional attachment to that song. But this is still a good song because I do think it's I think it's just genius to use the I Dream of Jeannie, the I Dream of Jeannie theme song as sort of like the main like beat and rhythm of the song. So I love that sample. So anyway, with all that being said, I would give this a 3.8 records on a scale of 1 to 5 records. I don't think it's quite a 4 because I'm not, it's been so long since I listened to it. So it was nice to hear it again. And it felt like, oh, this is so good. Like, I remember being like, so, but then I'm like, again, some of the other songs, like maybe it's not a total like 4 or 5, but anyway, still 3.8. I still think it holds up. It holds up.
It does.
I don't know what the kids would think about it today. I think they would be like, wow, this sounds old. This sounds really old. What is this? But,
And that's why I really hope it comes back, like in style, because I'm there for that. And I would have probably did Parents Just Don't Understand or Nightmare on My Street, but those have previously been featured on past episodes.
Right.
So I didn't feel like I could put them back on the list. But gosh, those are classics. So I take your 3.8. And I think, Owen being he's 16. And at some point he's really going to be dating somebody that I may or may not like. It just seems really relevant to me right now.
Right.
Girls Ain't Nothing But Trouble. And listen, I'm allowed to say that because I am a girl and I am a bunch of trouble.
You know what? I would think that Marcus would agree with it.
Yes. It takes a special person to put up with Amanda on a daily basis.
Listen, Amanda will write a letter and you will be in trouble.
That's right. I might do a video about it. Yeah. So I accept your 3.8. Thank you for that.
Well, you are very, very welcome. So, all right. Wait, what do we got here?
Dave.
Boys Ain't Nothing But Trouble. You know what? You are not wrong, my friend. Dave, you are not wrong.
Dave, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And then Johnny Pica coming in. Good morning, friends and foes. Back of the cereal box man himself. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Now, Dave, I think Boys Ain't Nothing But Trouble either. I think Boys Get in Trouble versus more Make the Trouble.
Definitely Boys Get in Trouble.
Right? So I think I don't know, for me, it's a lot easier to, like, accept getting in
Yeah,
trouble and causing mischief than being the trouble or mischief.
right.
Ooh, girls. Woo!
Yeah,
They ain't nothing but trouble.
ain't nothing but trouble. Ain't nothing
So
but
much
trouble.
fun.
Yes.
All right,
All
Chris.
right.
Your first song to me is "I Know" by De La Soul.
Oh, I was so happy that they finally put all the De La Soul stuff on streaming because, and once again, we were just talking about it, sampling.
Yes, that's on the notes. Yeah.
They were a product of getting hung up in renegotiating the licensing of all these samples, and it really took a very, very long time to make that happen. But we are here in a day, in a age where finally De La Soul's early catalog and just genius stuff is finally available on streaming. So and very, very recently too. So very, very happy about that. Because now I can
Agreed.
share this song with you.
I just the classic sound of, again, that 80s hip hop that just
Yeah,
starts. It just hits so different. It
it
makes
really
me,
does.
like, tap my toe, but in a different way. Instead of tapping my toe, it almost makes me, like, fling my shoes.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, if that makes sense. You can see what I'm saying, like, when you can visualize, right? When
Yeah.
I say that?
Yeah.
So I just love the sound of these songs. And, I just love a good whistle.
Oh, so great. So
I
great. And that
love a good
whistle
whistle.
is from Sitting on a
On
Dock
the
of the
Dock
Bay.
of the Bay, which is super fun. And you know what I do find fascinating? And you'll see this on, I don't know, TikTok clips, maybe not so much as like Facebook videos that used to be around, but you give somebody who has the ability to rap slash hip hop,
Hmm.
they have that talent. You
Yeah.
give them the beat to anything, and they can start pumping out lyrics.
Yeah.
And so to get into the mind of these people who are writing the songs, did they just happen to hear Sitting on the Dock of the Bay and be like, "Oh, I can do a hip hop rap song to that," and just start pumping out, "I know," like, on a napkin because they heard a whistle.
Yeah, see, and that's why I just, especially this early hip hop stuff is just so, it's just so creative. Like I said, like
Yeah.
taking other music and making new music with it, I just think is just, it's just awesome. Like I just think
Yes.
I find it very fascinating like that. And that, like, yeah, that you could hear that and start to like put it together and be like, wow, that would be really cool to like take this and take that. And like I could, it's just,
Yeah.
it's a
It
different way of thinking about songwriting, I think.
Yeah, it seems reverse engineered to me, where other
Yeah.
songs, they're written on napkins from an idea or an experience that happened in the now, and then they add music as a secondary thing. I almost think this genre, here's the tune, the beat, the lyrics, the whistle, the inspiration
Hmm.
first, and then they write lyrics to it. I could be
Yeah.
wrong. Correct me, people, if you disagree, but I think there is something to that. I think they're
Yeah.
very talented. So I like this song a lot. I didn't know that it actually was spelled like I like eyeball.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
until you sent it to me, I was like, "That's clever."
Yeah.
I mean, but that's why I fall victim into not always hearing the lyrics because 'cause I'm just bopping in my own little happy world to the beat, and I'm
To
not
be,
even, like, I'm not beating to the
yeah.
lyrics.
Well, what's good about this one is that it is a lyrical love letter. That is the song. It is a love letter to a girl. It's like great. And that's the thing too, is that like De La Soul for me, like the first time I heard De La Soul, which was a little bit which was still during the 80s, but like they were so different from, the other stuff that had already come out, which was, Run DMC, and we just talked about DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. And so they were part of that evolution, right? So we're talking about
Mhm,
the evolution of like hip hop, and they brought a different like style and different like just air about them,
mhm.
and just started like being a little bit more creative, like just making it their own. Like I really feel that De La Soul developed like their own style that then like influenced like so many other artists like going into the 90s. With especially with this record. This record was just a phenomenal, it's from start to finish, this is a solid record. So I'm so glad right now that it's back out on that it's out on Spotify now. 3 Feet High and Rising, people. Released in 1989. Gotta get it. Gotta listen to it. It's amazing.
Barely squeaking in with an 89, and there were a few
Yeah.
songs that I swore were late 80s and actually ended up being very early 90s, and I was like, "Oh, I guess I can't put that on the list."
Same thing here. I was like, "Oh, this is clearly an '80s," and I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah.
wow, no, it was released in '90 or '91." I'm like, "Oh, wow,
Yes,
okay."
yeah.
Does
So
not
there's
make the list.
yeah, there were definitely some, transition into the 90s that were very similar.
Yeah.
Yeah, so okay.
Alright.
I feel like this is that traditional rap hip hop that I'm liking. I love the whistle. I give extra points for whistling. Yes.
Yep.
Oh, so
That
good.
Otis Redding, great.
Yes, yes. So I feel like this has the elements to make up a pretty good score. Is it my favorite one of all times? No,
Mhm.
but it's solid. So I'm going to give it a 4, and I feel confident about that 4.
Nice. Well, that is a good rating. I would, I appreciate that. I think it's definitely deserving of a 4 for sure, as far as the song goes. And by the way, you were talking about how did this song come about? So
Yeah.
and so in facts, they actually talked about it. So, Posnius of De La Soul recalled to Rolling Stone, "When me and Dave worked in the mall, we would just hear songs playing in the loudspeakers. They would always play Steely Dan's Peg, and we were even then aspiring to be a group, and we were like, yo, that could be a dope song to use. So when it came about time to use it, we took that part, I Know I'll Love You Better, and we took the Lee Dorsey beat. We used the horns from another Mad Lads record, Make This Young Lady Mine, and that was it. It was fun, and it was my first kind of time programming a beat. So there you go.
Love it.
Like, it's just, working at the mall, hearing the songs on the and we're like, man, that would make a really good song. Like that, and there you go.
I love
Just
it.
awesome. So yeah, we've got a bunch of samples, as we said. Steely Dan's Peg, sitting on a dock of the bag, and 1969 song, Make This Young Lady Mine is another instrumentation used for the song.
And
So
let's just
3 songs to make up, and then what
this
they add to it, so great.
I love it. And let's just go back and just take a moment to appreciate while they were working at the mall.
Yeah, while they're working at the mall, which was a lot of people's very first
Yes.
jobs or second jobs,
Yes.
yeah,
Oh,
working at
I
the mall,
miss
man.
it. I
Yeah,
miss it.
you go into stores and it's all teenagers working there. Even today, you can still go in the mall and there's, like, teenagers working
Yeah.
in the mall, It's
Agreed.
especially
Agreed.
the night shift, the after school shift.
Yeah, for sure.
Dave Mattingly checking in with my favorite De La Soul song is Tread Water. Great song. Good song.
I'm sure I know that one, but I don't know that one by the title of the song.
Mhm. It's a good song.
I'm sure I know it though. I'm gonna write it down so I know.
You write it down.
I'm doing it right now.
You
I'm
write
writing
it
it.
down. You
It's
write that
written.
down.
It's
You
written
write it down
on my purple paper.
on your purple paper.
Oh, what and then he also came in and said, "Amanda, that's not true," talking about
Oh,
or that's true. There are generally more drama queens than drama kings. Ain't that right? Going back to our first song of the day, Girls Ain't Nothing But Trouble. Ain't nothing but trouble. You're muted, Mike. Your mic's muted.
oh,
There
there
we
we
go.
go. Girls ain't nothing but trouble. Ain't that the truth?
Indeed. Indeed.
Indeed. So now would be a very good time to take a very quick break,
Yes.
and we're gonna just show some love for our sponsor.
Mhm.
If you're a regular listener to the show, you hear us talking about this all the time. In fact, you see them on the screen right here. Our friends at campsite.bio. Once again, we can't say enough great things about our friends over
Mhm.
at campsite.bio. We absolutely love them. It is the place to create your space on the web, and you can convert more followers into customers with this amazing link in bio tool created just for you. Now, Amanda and I talk about this a lot, and Amanda is in real estate, and she will tell you
Yes.
how precious that one space, that
Yes.
little sliver of real estate that you get on certain platforms like Instagram or TikTok, and how valuable that is.
Absolutely.
You only get to put one link in there. One. So why not make it a campsite.bio link where you can put all your links together in one spot, customize it, make it branded to you, regardless if you're just a solopreneur, a
Mhm.
creator, a marketing manager, a small business owner, whatever you're doing, guaranteed you have more than one link going, whether it's a link to your
Oh,
store,
absolutely.
link to your YouTube channel, link
All
to
day.
all your other platforms that you're at. Like, I mean, there's so many links that you can create. And that's the thing, is which one goes in there will make it the campsite.bio link. And then that way people have
That's
access to
right.
all your links. It is 100% Got to do it. I mean, listen, there's a lot of other link in bio tools out there, but we love campsite.bio the best because it just gives you that ultimate level of customization. So, especially if you want to embed things like for us, like we have our Spotify playlist embedded in there, our YouTube channel is embedded. So, it's ease of access. You can get to it right away. As I said, you can brand it to your links, your colors, your logos, all those great things. But you can even go deeper. And if you are a very analytical person, as you should be in marketing, which is, all data and analytics, you can integrate just about any kind of data and analytics and get all kinds of performance results, all that sent right to your email too. So you get actually a weekly email or daily email sent to you with all your data and analytics, and you can integrate just about anything you want into this. So Campsite.bio is 100% a blazing fast bio link made your way, and you can join over 200,000 other creators and
Woo!
agencies and brands already at Campsite.bio. That is right. Over 200,000 others. Like, this isn't like, oh, there's like 100 others. No, there's 200,000 other users using Campsite.bio. So this, I recommend it. Stay in control of your branding to create a bio link that matches you. The possibilities are endless with their profile customization tools. And guess what? You can download it for free right now. That's right. Campsite.bio. You can use it for free. Download it for free. Start using it. Get used to it. And when you are ready to make that upgrade, take it to the next level. Get the pro plan. Get deeper in analytics. There is a coupon code in our show notes right now. Use that coupon code on checkout and you get $10 off, courtesy of the Song Swap Showdown on your pro plan. What do you think of them apples, Amanda?
You know what I think? I think every time they have been a long sponsor of our show, which we are so
Yes.
grateful for. And every single time that you talk about it, you say it with just as much excitement as the first time, because you guys, when he says he loves this tool, as do I, but he like means this. Like he has sold me on this like well over a year ago. So
Yeah.
I just love your excitement every time you talk about it. Let that be a clue that it's a great tool and great product.
Absolutely 100%. Download it for free right now. And when you're ready to make the move to the pro plan, use our coupon code to get $10 off, courtesy of Song Swap Showdown. Ba-ba-bum.
Boom.
Ba-dum-bum.
Love it. That's it. That's
Yeah,
it.
there we go. And now back to our show.
A regular scheduled programming.
Yes. All right. So jumping back in, your number 2 song to me, which this was no surprise, I'm going to say, because I knew that this would be on I just knew it was going to be on your playlist. When you said, Chris, let's do an 80s hip hop episode,
Ah!
I knew that Bust a Move by Young
Yes.
MC was going to be on your
Yes.
playlist. Like,
Sure. It sure was.
without a doubt, I knew this was going to be on there because this is like, I could see Amanda totally grooving to this one at the roller rink. I
Oh,
can see you grooving to it now with
oh.
your roller skates on
Hair
as you're
blowing in the
busting a
wind,
move. Yeah,
doing the bob on my skates. Oh my gosh, rounding those corners, pretending like I am so cool. Oh,
yeah,
I can just I feel it. I feel it.
yeah. This is a really good song. I think too, in terms of, once again, when we talk about hip hop songs that helped to like further the genre in the sense of give it more access to people that may not have been in hip hop or
Sure.
still a little like on the fence about it. Like, this song came out in 1989. And once again, right on the cusp there, right before we turned the page into the 90s. And
Yeah.
this was a huge song. This was number 7 in the United States,
Could
and
have been
like
number
really
one.
should have been number 1, but it really exposed a lot of, let's just say
Mhm.
it, a lot of white kids to more hip hop. I mean, it really did. It brought it
Said
more
it,
into a mainstream audience, and
it yes.
it's a great song. It's a fun song. You still put it on today. People bust a move. Like, in fact, that term bust a
Yes.
move was made, like, people say it now, like, I'm gonna bust, like, that's because of this song. Like,
Yeah.
that's why people
Absolutely.
say bust a move, you
I
know?
love it.
Yeah. Yeah, Dave, yes, bust a move was humorously used in the Keanu Reeves movie, The
I haven't
Replacements.
seen that
Yes, it
one.
was. That is a funny movie. Yeah, watch The Replacements.
Okay.
It is a funny film. But yeah, it was, Dave, you're right. But yeah, basically, do you know what bust a move means though? Like, Amanda, what is the
I
definition of bust a move?
like
If you had a guess.
if I had to guess, I feel like it's like breaking into a move, like into a pose, like strike a pose.
So you're close. I would say yes. So
Ooh,
basically, it's like taking action of some kind. So I would say
okay.
yes. So it's basically like, I'm gonna bust a move. So whatever it is, like you're taking action of some kind.
Yes.
That is busting a move.
Alright.
That is busting a move. So talking about song lyrics, and what is this song about when you truly listen to the lyrics, right? Here we go.
Here we go.
This song follows a guy who's hapless with women, but somehow keeps getting lucky. In the first verse, he busts a move by dancing with a girl who shows interest. Later, he considers becoming a monk, but meets a girl in a movie theater. At the end of the song, he's the best man at a wedding, and when a bridesmaid shows interest, he gets to bust a different kind of move when she wants to dance with him to a different kind of groove. It's all good fun and help make rap music acceptable for a much wider audience. And that's coming courtesy of songfacts.com. And on this song, I think some people may know, some music aficionados may know, but it is like one of these stories of the music industry. We talk about it a lot on the show. But Flea, bass player for the Red Hot Chili Peppers, everybody
Mhm.
knows Flea. He played the bass on this song and is also in the video. But you would think, wow, this song was huge. Flea must have made out, right? He played the bass line on this song. He must have reaped the rewards of being featured on this song. It's his bass line. Well, ain't the case. Poor Flea did not reap the rewards of playing bass on this song. In fact, he explained to Bass Player
So
magazine, I have a bitter
sad.
taste in my mouth about that
Oh,
because I feel as though I got ripped off. The bass line I wrote ended up being a major melody of the tune, and I felt I deserved songwriting credit and money because it was a number one hit. They sold millions of records, and I got, how much do you think he got?
oh, just you saying it in this way,
How much?
50,000, 50,000.
Wow. Like, not even close. Not even close,
Less
Amanda Shaw.
than
Way less than.
for, like, the life of the song? Like, everything? Oh my gosh, 5,000.
You're gonna fall out of your chair with this one.
I can't e I have to sit back for this one.
They sold millions of records, and I got $200.
Stop it. Chris Babbia.
Afterwards, yep, $200. Afterwards, my lawyer told him you should throw down Flea some cash, but the record company said we told them exactly what to play. No one was even in the room at the time, but me and the engineer. It was ridiculous, but I learned from it.
Well, that's fair, but
But can
that's
you?
just
Yeah.
terrible business.
Well, it's funny. So on the reverse of that, which is a little different, Eddie Van Halen played the guitar lead and beat it. Now they offered, and he said no. It's fine. He didn't think it was, and they even offered him a point like on the sale for playing that lead, and Eddie said, "No, no, it's fine." And of course, we know how Beat It and Thriller went.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unbelievable. Like, so yeah, I mean, and this is a story. I mean, what we were talking about, the guy who played the sax and in the that one song for the Baker Street Bird,
Yes. Yeah.
like it's such a huge part of the song, but yeah, but like got paid like I don't know, $500 or whatever it was.
I uh, I just feel like that's awful.
I mean, this music industry is littered with stories like this. Unfortunately, I mean, almost any genre is. I mean, we talk movies, film, comics. I mean, tons and tons and tons of stories of people being ripped off for not knowing their worth or being young and being taken advantage
Yeah.
of in a way. And this is a case where, like, hey, Flea didn't know any better.
Mhm.
Um, but I mean, man, $200, like crazy.
That is crazy, and I think, like, we've all been a victim of being, like, screwed over, right? I mean, we all can
Of
agree
course,
to that, we've
of
all
course.
experienced that. We've never been screwed where we actually see, like, major potential of huge lost money on
Mhm.
most circumstances, but within the music industry, you do hear about this all too often
Yeah.
because, oh my gosh, $200, Chris, I can't even stomach that.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about it. It's absolutely crazy to think about that was what he was paid for that major baseline, but it is what it is, and
Hey,
obviously, yeah, he learned a lesson,
and
and
you do
listen,
learn from it.
and Flea is still out there making music with Red Hot Chili Peppers, and he's contributed on other songs too, so I'm sure
It was more
moving
than
forward,
200
yeah,
yeah.
he's gotten more than $200 now,
Yeah,
so
he's not hurting, but I
no,
mean,
no, but I'm sure it's
slap
like
in the
one of those,
face.
you're definitely kicking yourself in the butt for that one.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I thought it was funny too. Young MC also recalled to Rolling Stone, people look at rap and hard rock as the type of music that you slam your door after you argue with your parents and bang your head in defiance. My record wasn't necessarily about being rebellious, but it was clever enough to grab a decent segment of people that didn't listen to rap music. And I think he's 100% right with that.
Yeah.
Once again, music, when it crosses musical borders, is always a
Mhm.
great thing. And that's when you usually have, too, like just more people getting into a certain type of music, whatever that is. And it's good for the genre. It's great for the artists involved, because it's that you make music for people to listen to and to enjoy. And the more people to hear it, the better off it is. And so this is one of these songs that I'm telling you, hear it today and it goes. So
Oh,
the main sample in the song actually is a loop from a song called Found a Child by Seattle funk group called Ball and Jack. Their song came out in 1970. And 19 years later, Young MC took it and boosted it. The 15 seconds of bass, drums, and vocal stabs on the song make a perfect foundation for a rap hit in an era when sampling was widespread. Coming from songfacts.com. So there you go.
boom, boom.
Yep.
And going back to when he was saying that he linked it to, like, slamming the door when you're mad at your parents, and have you ever slammed your door? I never, ever. My door would have been taken off.
I can't say I haven't done that. I haven't not done that. Yes, I've done it
To your parents?
to my parents. I've done it. Might have even done it to my wife a couple times.
No, I never said I didn't do it to Marcus. That's different, but not my mom.
No, I think I've done it to my parents a couple times. I'm sure my my sister, who's probably listening to this, will also attest to the fact of like I know she definitely did it.
Doors have
More than I did, I will say.
Oh, I
My
would have
sister had more
gotten
cojones than I did.
I would have gotten in so much
Yeah.
trouble.
Well, but sometimes you just do things. Hey, you're a kid, you're a teenager, you got a lot of angst and anger for no reason whatsoever. So got to go somewhere.
When I slam a door as an adult now, which is not very often, it seems like it's magically like the pressure of the world is against me. And like I'll go to like slam it, and it's like the airflow slows it down. And then it's like
And
click.
it's like
Yeah, like in slow motion. Click.
you're like, that's not the desired effect I wanted.
Yeah, I open it and shake it again.
Yeah. I want to slam the door so hard it's gonna come off the hinges.
Exactly. And it's like
Break right through the wall.
you can hear the air. So cruel.
Amazing. I know. It doesn't give you the desired effect. You're like, that
No,
was completely
not
not
the
what I
therapy I
wanted.
needed.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Not what I needed at this
Not what I
moment in time.
needed. All right. So sorry to
All
digress
right.
us there, but hey, so how do
So
you rate this
so
baby?
how do I rate Bust a Move? I give Bust a Move a very, very strong 4 records.
All
Maybe
right.
even I would probably even go with a 4.2.
Ooh,
It's a
moving
great
on up.
song, well written, a hit through and through, a hit song. Great song. I love it. I think it's cool. Why isn't it a 5 record? It's a great question. I think that there are just some other rap songs out there that are better than this.
Mhm.
But as far as an important song in also, helping to open the door wider
Yeah,
for hip hop music, definitely did that and more. So I have
sure.
4.2 records. Good song, great song. I think it holds up.
Mhm.
I would think too that, I mean, listen, you put it on at a wedding and people are busted to move. So
I was just gonna say, I feel like this is one that lives on through
yeah,
weddings and
there's always that
special
little
events.
kid who's like 6, like, in the
Really
corner,
getting it.
like
Yeah,
totally like, yeah, there's always that
absolutely.
kid when this song comes on at a wedding. He's
Agreed.
busting a move.
Agreed. All
Yeah.
right. So I
All right.
accept that 4. I do. I do.
Okay.
All right. Your second song to me.
Oh yeah.
Fight the Power by Public Enemy.
Oh yes.
So, okay. I
Also released in 1989, by the way.
by the hair.
By the hair.
This is probably gonna be an unpopular opinion,
Oh,
but I'm gonna say it out loud anyway.
say it out loud.
This is not a favorite of mine.
Are you just not a Public Enemy fan at
Um, I
all?
I can't say I'm not a Public Enemy fan at all. They're in probably more on my lesser favorites of
Mhm.
that, like, period, but I just feel like this particular song just doesn't hit it with me, like, I don't enjoy it.
Mhm.
I just
Now,
don't.
why is that? Why is it what is the thing that just doesn't do it for you as far as
Mhm.
is it the tone? Is it the
Mhm.
beat? Is it the messaging? I mean, is it too
I
serious? Is it
think
too
it's
political for you?
I think it's too political for me,
Okay.
where, the other songs that I've chosen are very more lighthearted, and that's how I kinda see hip hop. Like, the tone of it not even maybe the lyrics, but the
Mhm.
actual tune of the songs are very, like they're the boppy.
Mhm.
And this one, it just hits different, feels different, and I don't wanna come off as insensitive because I think the message behind the song is important. I
Yeah.
wanna be very clear when I say that. But they also reference Elvis Presley, and I don't love that.
Well, yeah, I mean, listen, and this is why I've always loved Public Enemy. It's because of what you just said, and this is where any genre, right? Any genre
Mhm.
that comes up, has success, has its, like, hits,
Yeah.
the mainstream,
Yep.
there's always gonna be a subset of that which is gonna say, "Hey, that's cool, but here's what's really going on."
Yeah.
And it's gonna be a little bit more rebellious, a little more outlaw, like, right, even in country, the
Mhm. Oh,
outlaw
yeah.
country,
Yeah.
in rock, punk, hardcore
Mhm.
punk music is like it's not glossy, it's not pretty. This is what's really going on. So,
Yeah.
and hip hop and rap, which is, coming straight from, urban communities and,
Mhm.
where a certain, a certain community of people are being completely like, I mean, let's just
Yeah.
say what it is,
Yeah.
completely being discriminated against. And you're gonna have music that's gonna come up and rise against the tide of like, as much as we love the Busta Moves,
Yeah.
and the other, and DJ Jazzy Jeff and all the hit hip hop songs, you're gonna have something that comes up and rises against that and says, "Hey, this is what's really kind of going on, and
Mhm.
it's important for you to know about." And also, too, like the icons that we all know, hey, great people, but they also had a side to them that maybe you didn't know about. And
Of
so that's
course,
where,
of course.
bands like Public Enemy are so important in my eyes to hip hop because and then you can look at NWA and all and
Mhm.
like they kicked the door down like loud and proud and said, "Hey,
Yeah.
here's a different way of looking at things. Here's our viewpoints on things." And
Mhm.
I've always considered them the punk rock in a way of
Sure, I
hip
think
hop.
that's very fair. That's a great analogy there.
Yeah, and especially too, also, coming from the East Coast and all that, like, and here's where you start
Yeah.
to see the difference between East Coast versus West Coast,
So true.
and the sounds and everything and the lyrics and um, it's it's I just I love it. I think it's great, and I do listen to this stuff, and you do hear it, and you still hear,
Mhm.
the anger in there, or the thoughtfulness as well, though, because it's not just anger. Like Chuck D's lyrics are like they
Very
make
much.
you think. Like, and this is where you want to listen to the lyrics, right? We were talking about
Yeah.
it. It's like because you hear what he's saying, and you're like,
Mhm.
there's a important message here that like people need to hear, and so you want to actually stop and listen to the lyrics on this. That's my thought on it. So
No, and I
but I
agree,
respect
and
your viewpoint, though.
no, and I completely agree with you in all of yours, where when I'm to my point earlier when I was saying I just was bopping to these songs, not even listening to the lyrics. This is not one that you bop to and not listen to the lyrics.
Right.
It's
No, it's
very so it just wasn't my lane to
mhm,
gravitate to because I preferred more of the lighthearted sounding hip hop songs.
mhm,
And so I I yeah, I think the message is, like, timeless
mhm.
in this. I think it
Yeah.
fits really well for 2023.
Still relevant.
It's so relevant. I mean, it's
Yeah,
sad,
but still,
but
relevant. I mean, I
apply
have
it to many things, and it's
right.
still very relevant.
Yeah, I mean, you still hear this song and it's like, fight the power. I mean,
Yeah,
that's 100%, like, you hear this and you're like, yeah, like, you're compelled to action, like
yeah. I and I don't like to get angry or, like, pumped up in this
sure,
way when I listen to music. Like, I wanna, like, almost escape the
right.
reality of the world that's out there, and I totally understand that is a privilege of mine to be able to do that.
Right.
Like, I will say that,
Yeah.
where this song came from a place that they didn't have the privilege to do
No.
that. So I wanna say that because I understand that.
Yeah, I
That I
mean, and the platform and to just be able to get it out. I mean, that's why too when we talk about 80s hip hop, like,
Mhm.
and we're having this conversation about 80s hip hop, and like while they're, and Public Enemy, great band. I don't think you can in my side, I go, you can't have and there's so many bands, right? And we only
Yeah.
do 3 songs. So that's the other thing. And so I tried to choose a smattering of things that influenced me, things that I liked. But I feel like you can't have a conversation of 80s hip hop without having Public Enemy on the list. Like, you
Totally
just
fair.
especially for me in my, my corner of the world, having grown up in the New Jersey, New York area my whole life, like Public Enemy are like a really big deal here, and especially too when Do the Right Thing came out and like how important of a film that was.
Yeah.
And this song was written for Do the Right Thing and then eventually then put out on Fear of a Black Planet. Like, this was such an important piece to that movie and then also
Mhm.
became a very important song. Like, it's just, the whole thing and the way it all works together
When
is
was that
pretty
movie
influential.
released?
So Do the Right Thing was also released in 1989. It
And
was released in the summer of 1989.
it should not come at any surprise. These were not things that were, like, really being viewed around here. That like, so
Yeah.
I and this message didn't resonate with me as a very young white girl. Yeah, I'll just say that.
Midwest white girl.
Yeah, like, very much so, and I mean,
Right.
again, that's privilege, I get it, but so it hits different. I can appreciate it now as an adult listening to it,
Mhm.
and I can appreciate why they had to do this and what they experienced to be able to write a song like this, and to
Yeah.
me, that is amazing. I do love that it's still so relevant to being able to be applied in 2023. I think it's remarkable, and, I honestly think Owen could listen to this song in 2023 and probably think it's newer than what it
Mhm.
actually is, where if
Yeah.
he was listening to Bust a Move, I think he'd be like, "Oh, mom."
Yeah, I mean, I think that we're talking about the evolution of hip hop, and it's like the different stages, and you hear the
Yeah,
growth in the songs and the music, and this coming in 1989 and being that like in your face, a little bit more militant approach to things, a lot more real, a lot more raw,
yeah, yeah,
like. And even NWA comes out too around this. Like, it's these bands are the thing that then set the stage for the next level
yeah,
and open a door for other artists to be like, wow, listen to these guys saying these
yeah,
things. Like, I feel that way. I'm
mhm,
gonna do that too. Like, I want to talk about my community. I want to empower, like, what I'm saying? Like, it begins to like really open the floodgates even more so. And then this is when you see the
absolutely.
90s of like a lot more raw, a lot more realistic
Yeah,
lyrics and, quote unquote gangster rap and all that. But that stuff was going on, and
yeah,
of course you get in then the whole other conversation about glamorization of things like this, of violence and
mhm,
money and that's a other conversation. But when you get to this is not glamorizing anything. This is like,
no,
we're not sugarcoating this. This is what's happening. This is how we feel, and this is how, and that's what I loved about this. And I think they
mhm,
made it, not just them, other groups, but like, they were sort of the front, the pioneers of like really kind of being like,
yeah,
you know, put it out
even
there. Like,
yeah,
don't hold it in.
and even the music video, while it
Oh,
still has the aspects of that '80s feel to it,
mm, music video is
it's
great.
it hits different than the lighthearted,
Mhm.
comical other '80s hip
Yeah.
hop-ish stuff. So, I think here I didn't think I was gonna have a lot to say about this song, and here, look at our good conversation we've had from it. So, I appreciate you
Yeah.
putting that on the list, and I understand why it's there. I don't love it. I am gonna give it a rating of, and please forgive me out there, people, but I'm gonna only give it a 3 record
Okay.
just for my own listening pleasure. But, if you wanted to add in some bonus little, decimals just because of the message and all
Mhm.
of that good stuff, I mean, I might bump it up to like a 3.4.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, and there's so many Public Enemy songs to like choose
Mhm.
from, and I mean, there's a lot of them. But when I look back, I'm like, this is the song for me personally. This was the song that got me into Public Enemy.
Sure.
I remember when this came out. I remember hearing it on the radio and being like,
Mhm.
once again, wow, this is cool. This is different. Like, this is
Yeah.
interesting. Like, different from what I'd heard with,
Mhm.
like, Run DMC and all, which is great
Yeah.
stuff, but, like, it just once again was something that resonated with me, and being involved in, like, once again, metal, like, even that, and rock, and, like, I was starting to get, like, early on, I was getting into, I was into the Ramones, and I was got into
Yeah.
them, like,
Yeah.
this was like, wow, this is something different going on, and I think this is really cool, and so I like this. This is interesting to me. So
I
that's
agree.
how I got this was my introduction to the Public Enemy, which is why it's on my list.
Which I love, and it has a place there for sure. So 3 to 3.4 is what I'll give it, and good conversation behind that song on your list, Chris.
You are welcome. Well, thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for
Thank
the
you.
rating. All right. So your next song and
Uh-huh.
your last song, which makes me laugh so hard because it is funny. It is funny. It's and I know because it'll come on in the bar and people will be like, and it's just great.
It
You can't help but chuckle. So, well, we're talking about Biz Markie's "Just a Friend."
just ah!
Complete
Oh my
uh
gosh, so different.
180
Yes.
from
Yes.
Public Enemy's Fight the Power. But once again, like every genre has your more serious stuff and has your way
Mhm.
more fun stuff. And
Yeah.
this song, Biz Markie's "Just a Friend." I remember when this came out, and it's just like him, his Addie Key singing, like
Oh, yes! The
just
out of keys.
the Addie Key
"Oh,
singing.
baby,
Oh,
you."
baby,
It's
you got what? Oh, it's just
and
so
I
awesome,
think
so
that's
funny.
why in a bar it's so good because that's how drunk people sound, like,
Yeah,
"Oh, baby." Like
yeah. Which is funny because when you think about it, like this song and that singing out of key, like style actually became a thing. Like,
Yeah.
because you start listening to like, record like Ja Rule and now like other and
Mhm.
it become and it still has become a thing where rappers will sing knowing it's bad and out of tune, but this song made
So
that, like,
great.
okay to do. Like, it
Mhm.
was like, well, you know, Biz Markie did it, so you know what? It's fine. Like, it's
It's
all
so
good.
fun.
Yeah, and this was still, like, one of these things where, like, we're just talking about, like, rap songs could still be kinda goofy and fun, and, like, rappers, like, at this I don't know if you'd see a lot of this like this kind of goofy fun now, so to speak. I mean, there's still stuff out there for sure, but
Mhm.
there was definitely then from there was like a time when it was like everybody was very obsessed about street cred and like an image, obviously,
You sure?
and being the goofy fun rapper was kind of not in vogue, for a
Sure.
while. So, I like that this is and I don't know, it's a fun song. I mean, is it an awesome song? Is it like it's not one of the greatest songs ever for sure,
Mhm.
but it's got a lot of fun to it.
Mhm.
It's got a lot of fun, and when you hear, that you get I mean, come on. I mean, honestly, if nobody out there has ever heard this song before, I
It's
mean, you gotta hear
you
it.
know, just like, he's had a
Yeah,
couple beers.
yeah.
He's just
I know, and
oh.
and the fact that he's rapping basically about a girl he meets at a show, I think is great. And so it goes on. So in songfacts.com, it goes, when he asks her if she has a man, she says she doesn't, and that she only has a friend. He enters into a relationship with her where it would become apparent to most people that her man is much more than a friend, but poor hapless Biz doesn't figure this out until he surprises her one day and finds her kissing her friend.
Poor
We've
Biz.
we've all been there. We've all been there. So this is actually based on Freddie Scott's 1968 R&B song, by the way. "You've Got What I Need," which was written by the Philadelphia songwriting production team of Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff. Biz Markie used the piano melody and the phrasing of the line, "You got what I need," but changed the subject matter completely. Despite the obvious influence, Biz Markie, his real name, by the way, is Marcel Hall, is the
Ooh,
only
love it.
songwriter credited to this track. And this was common practice at the time, as most samples and interpolations were not cleared. So, once again, we talked about this back in the 80s. Wasn't really anything that was cleared, but that would all change coming down the pike in the 90s. That would all start to change. So, all the 80s hip hop acts really enjoyed that. And listen, once again, wasn't on the law book, so they weren't necessarily
Absolutely.
breaking the law until it became a law. So, once again, this is why it took so long for the De La Soul stuff to come on digital, because of all the rights that needed to be negotiated, all those samples, because you can't release that music without those samples, because otherwise it's not really the same song. Like, it's the song, it's part of the song,
Oh,
like,
yeah, like,
so you got that stuff has to be in there.
absolutely.
It's not like, oh, we could just drop this out. No, you can't just drop it out. Like, that's the
No.
song,
I mean, and some of them have 3 within
Yeah.
1, like, oh, I can't
I
even
mean, can you
imagine the
imagine going back to our first song, DJ Jazzy Jeff,
Yes.
and Girls Ain't Nothing But Trouble, and them
I
not
dream of
be and that
oh,
stripping out the I Dream of Jeannie, like, theme?
it wouldn't even make sense.
No, it actually creates, like, it's
What do you
not even the same
replace it
song.
with?
Yeah, what do you do? There's nothing
And
you can do.
and then the people who knew it's an
Right.
originality are gonna
Yeah,
go, "This doesn't hit the same."
right. So,
This is good, though.
by
It's
the
just
way, this
fun.
song charted number 9 on the US charts when it was released in 1989
Okay.
off of the Biz Never Sleeps, Biz Markie. So, does the song hold up, right? So let's talk about this from 80s hip
Okay.
hop, because not all 80s hip hop holds up.
Mhm,
Some of it's kind of aged a little poorly.
mhm, mhm,
Um, this song,
mhm.
it's definitely more of the goofy, fun
Mhm.
novelty.
Yeah,
I'd put it in a category of being a novelty hip hop song. But you're right. It comes on at a bar, people are singing it. It's like easy. It's a fun song to do. Um, it's not. It's a fun song. Is it a great hip hop song? Is it all those things? No, but it's fun. But I don't know if I can give it a 4 or 5 record, because
sure.
it's a little bit. It's fun. Let's just leave it at that. It's a fun song. So I'm gonna give it a 3 records. I mean,
Okay,
I
yeah,
don't
sure.
hate this song. I think it's
Mhm.
fun. I've said it 300 times already. It's fun. It's humorous. It's light. It's a good time. But I'm
It's an
gonna leave it
Amanda
there.
song,
It's an Amanda song. But come on and sing it. Hell yeah, I'm gonna sing it all out of key. You got it. I mean, come on.
and I think that's why
It's
people like it so much because they don't have to
Sure.
be a good singer to sing it.
No, it's fine.
They
So,
can
but
sing along.
it's a very solid 3 record song, like solid, middle of the road, great fun song. But
I dig
you
it.
know,
I receive your 3 records. Thank you.
thank you. You are
Thank
welcome. You are welcome. All right, my last song to you, and I was like, "There's no way I'm putting a list together
Without
without Run DMC." Like I said, my gateway into hip hop was Run DMC. That was 100% my gateway into it.
I love it. So, "It's
Yeah.
Tricky" by Run DMC. Now listen, we talk about this often on our show,
Mhm.
that TikTok can bring an older song back to life. And this particular song, all I can think about is
Mhm.
TikTok when I hear it now because there's the trend on TikTok where people are deciding like do they go left or right because they're saying ketchup or mustard and then they like go one or the other like a couple will do that or whatever. So all I can see in my head are these TikTok videos playing out in my head for this song now and I'm like, man, I'm sure that is great and helpful, but it really takes it back. It doesn't like take me back to the 80s anymore. It takes me
Right.
back to the modern era of TikToks. And so I feel like I don't realize that it's part of that nostalgia for me when I hear it anymore. Because I
Gotcha.
just feel like it's so relevant today still.
Right. When you hear Run DMC.
Yeah, especially this song on TikTok. So I just think it's so like
Yeah.
recent, even though it is not. It's 30 something years old.
Yeah, which is also unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, I think about Raising Hell in this record, and, when this came out, and it's like, 1986, still, like, I'm very much, like I said, into, like, my rock, hard rock, classic rock, metal, uh, and then this comes out, and it's like, wow. Once again,
It's
this is really cool. And,
mhm,
I think mostly everybody's experience with Run DMC
mhm.
was with the song with Aerosmith, which is Walk This Way, doing the Walk This
Oh,
Way cover,
yeah.
which, I gotta be honest with that. Like, I don't actually, this is gonna be an unpopular opinion, but I don't think that song holds up today. Now, Walk This Way as an Aerosmith, but I just don't, I don't know. It's an important collaboration in music with rock and hip hop and all that.
Mhm.
So culturally, it's a huge milestone for that,
Sure.
and introduced a ton
Of course.
ton of white kids into hip hop, like 100%. But listening to it today, I think it's aged not so great.
Mhm.
Whereas I hear it's tricky,
It's
and I'm
tricky.
like,
Mm, mm,
"Woo,
mm, 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 mm,
still,
mm, 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 mm,
still,
mm, 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 mhm.
still a great song, man." And that's just me. I mean,
So, I'm gonna say this out loud, and I might get some pushback on this,
right,
but this song makes me think, like, when it da 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 da, it
yeah,
makes me think of, "Hey, Mickey. Hey, Mickey.
right,
Oh, Mickey, you're so fine." Like, I feel like the cadence of that,
right.
these songs are very similar.
Well, you're not too far off because the sample that they use, the guitar riff that they use in this song, is from My Sharona. It's the 1979 hit My Sharona by
Oh,
the Knack.
okay.
So that's where
Da, da,
the
da.
main guitar riff
Oh,
is from the
interesting.
Knack.
I was putting it into my
Yeah.
more popular song in my head than the My Sharona.
Right.
Interesting.
Which once again also is what makes Run DMC so great is because they took and like go back and listen to Raising Hell and you hear a lot of very relevant, very recognizable
Mhm,
guitar riffs, things like that from very popular songs like that, which were great because it was a thing that was very well thought out and calculated by them to then introduce like hip hop to like, on top of
yeah.
being like, we like this is good, we're fans of this, we also want to make music with this, but it was a good way into like getting more and more people into
Mhm,
hip. It
mhm.
was, and I think that was genius on them to do
Sure.
things like that. And like, yeah, take a song like My Sharona and like build that into It's Tricky
It's
is
tricky.
awesome. Yeah. Yeah.
Completely different.
And Dave Mattingly agreeing with me. Chris, I'm with you. Walk This Way as past. Yeah, listen, I don't want to cut on it. Once again, the cultural significance of Walk This Way, huge, huge gateway into so many people into getting into hip hop. Awesome. But listen to it now.
Sure.
This isn't slagging on the significance of it. It just has doesn't hold up the way it does, the way it did then. But like I said, but when you listen to like things like It's Tricky and all the songs on this record, like not Walk This Way, oh, holds it so much better. My opinion, by the way, which could be unpopular. Good.
Good.
I don't know. I still I still feel like it's super relevant. And I know it's like, listen, that style of rapping and all that is just that is very 80s, and it's
Yeah.
different from what you
Mhm,
hear today, and what's very and but without certain bands, right? You say that without every genre, without
mhm.
this band, these things don't happen. Run DMC 100% at that time, without Run DMC, a lot of things in hip hop I don't think progress the way they have.
Fair. Fair.
They are also a very, very important band, um, in what they did all around too. Like, I mean, I'm telling you, go back and listen to Raising Hell if you haven't listened to it in a while, and you're gonna be like, wow, that was very advanced for 1986.
Sure.
What they were doing, what they were putting out there, like. And you'll hear a lot of the techniques and things that they did then that are like totally still being done today. And you're like, man, they were ahead of it. They were ahead of it. They knew what was gonna happen.
I okay, where do I
All
rate
right.
this song?
So where do you rate It's Tricky in the pantheon of 80s hip hop and all the things that we've talked about today? Where is it tricky? Where is that gonna lie for you?
I'm gonna give it 4 records, which has
Okay.
me
I think
thinking.
it's fair.
Yeah, and I honestly don't know because I look at my list and I love it and it's fun, and these are, like, iconic songs that take me back to that, but
Of
if I
course.
had to choose a 3, 5 records,
Mhm.
hip hop songs, I don't know what they would be, if I'm being
Okay.
honest. Like,
All right.
I feel like this genre in general, though I love it,
Mhm.
I don't know that I hit any that are super, like, boom, 5 records, like, they're gonna live forever and always in my world and eternity.
Yeah, see, I like once again, we were talking about 80s, right? So
Yes.
we weren't talking about 90s records because
Right.
for me,
Right, there are some
doc
90s ones
I
that
will tell you right now without hesitation, Dr. Dre's The Chronic,
so
slam dunk record. Slam dunk. Every song on that is awesome. At that record to me is a perfect hip hop record. It's awesome.
mhm.
And that's a landmark record.
And I think maybe that's kind of cueing it in where in the 80s, I felt like there were people were experimenting with it. It's
Yeah,
fun. And while it has such a place and I love it, I don't know that I could truly pick three. Now, if I'm going into the 90s, and this isn't about the 90s, but I
right.
do think there could be some solid, like, oh, here we go. It settled on a sound.
Yeah, I mean, and you think about it too, right? So we were talking about some of these like Public Enemy, 1989,
Mhm,
Bust a
mhm.
Move, 1989. Like we start
Yeah,
talking about
really on the
The
cusp.
Chronic was released in 1992. So we're not that far away.
No.
And when you think about the evolution of sound, right? So it's tricky, 1986. So by the time we get to 1992, we get Dr. Dre's The Chronic. And
Yeah.
like that changes hip hop
Mhm.
forever in my eyes. Like that record comes out and like, wow,
Yeah.
so we're doing this now with the sound
Yeah.
because Dr. Dre is just I he's a musical genius, great producer. Guy hears music the way, very few people in this world hear music.
Mhm, mhm,
And that to me, that when you talk about like landmark records, the way we talk about Nirvana's Nevermind, things like that, like, the Beatles, like
mhm.
Dr. Dre's for me, I feel like changes hip hop and puts it onto a course of like just, wow, this blows
Yes.
people's minds of what you
Yes.
can do. But when you think about like we're not that far away from like Bust
No.
a Move,
Yeah, like,
you know, and
within
fight
a
the
couple
power to
years.
like the Chronic in 1992, like
It's so
crazy,
true.
crazy to think about that.
That 2 years made
Yeah.
all the difference. But it's trends, styles, they're all different. So I love this. I think their 80s hip hop just is so cool. So nostalgic for me. I love it.
Yeah.
But it
Like,
it, it wasn't quite refined and at its full potential at that time.
yeah, a lot of great music, a lot of great songs, very important songs, very important artists came out in the 80s. I mean,
Mhm.
I was watching actually, what was it? Oh my gosh, what channel? Oh, you know what? I think Pluto, right? So Pluto Network. I don't know if anybody. It's a free app. You can go on and they actually had, or I don't know if they still have it, but they had it for a while. They had a Yo MTV Raps channel, like, and they just played all the old Yo MTV Raps, shows from back in it, and Yo MTV Raps for anybody that doesn't know was basically like the Headbangers Ball or any of the other shows are 120 minutes on MTV, but it was predominantly just featured rap hosted by Fab Five Freddy. um, it was
Mhm.
awesome. It was awesome, and it was great. Like you go back and you watch a lot of those videos, a lot of those songs. Once again, being exposed to like an audience that wow, didn't know this, didn't know that
Yeah.
band, these videos getting airplay. When once again, when you look back at MTV in the 80s, the only thing that was really on there was like right pop music, and
Yeah.
which would be like 80s hair metal or whatever rock or whatever like English Euro pop. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, Run DMC was getting played, but you weren't seeing Ice-T
Right.
necessarily on MTV, but like on UMTV Raps, you would. You'd see Ice-T, you Public Enemy on UMTV, like it goes on and on and on. So, going back and looking at that and watching those videos and go, wow, man, this was there was like a lot of great sounds and a lot of great music that came out. And yeah, when you look at any genre, right, the start of it, and listen, it's
Mhm.
not like hip hop started in the 80s. Like you're looking at like
Sure.
hip hop starting in like, the mid 70s and all that, and the starts of the genre. It's kind of not that it's not disco, but like the idea
Mhm.
of beats and things like that, and that rapping style
Yeah.
starts to sort of come, and then very very urban, very kind of like area specific sort of
Mhm.
sound that then like grows and grows and grows and grows and and it's amazing. Yeah, don't forget human beatbox. Yeah, exactly. You're right,
Mm,
Dave. The human beatbox. I mean, great. So anyway, like I said, I can go on forever, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not a hip hop aficionado. I certainly wouldn't claim to know the history of hip hop.
sure.
But and I know there's so many other more qualified people that could come on the show and talk very elegantly about the history of hip hop and the evolution and the cultural significance of it. But I mean, when you look at it, the two dominant musical genres in the United States of America today are country and hip hop, and worldwide hip hop. So
Boom.
not bad for a genre that basically started out 100% on the streets,
Yeah. It that could I mean, think about
it's
that.
basically taken over the world as a
Yes.
predominant musical genre that has, like, not just music, but culture in every way.
Yeah.
Fashion, design, uh, dance, uh, language. I mean, just has permeated every aspect of like life, So
Yeah.
it's amazing. So I mean, for everybody that's kind of like stuck their head in the sand, oh, hip hop's a fad, hip hop's gonna go away. Like, guess what? It has not and will not. So
It makes me wonder, had the internet existed in the '80s or TikTok in the '80s, how many more people would have become famous and how even bigger of a genre hip hop would have been.
yeah,
I think it would have taken over the planet.
basically, it was something that started off as most genres do, most underground sounds,
Yeah.
tape trading, stuff in the clubs, like
Mhm.
where it always starts. And then eventually somebody breaks out and brings attention to the genre.
Yep.
Like there's always a breakout star in that space that then shines a light on the entire
Yep.
genre as a whole. And there it begins. And then back then it would have, MTV was basically like
Mhm.
your version that in the radio. Like we're
Yeah.
it. Like if you were on the
Yeah.
radio and you got an MTV in heavy rotation, you were probably going to be a hit, or at least, get some sort of attention.
You would, good or bad.
Yeah, or you're gonna tour the malls like Tiffany.
Tiffany,
Mall tour.
you
Mall
had your
tour
chance with Chris.
1986. You had your I coulda gone to see her. She was right down the road.
Oh, the malls.
Yeah, the mall
Oh,
tour.
the mall tour.
So,
That's
well,
fantastic.
great episode today, Amanda Sharp.
Mhm.
This
So
was awesome.
fun.
Great idea.
We
Good
know it
fun.
was lengthy. We try to but, we just talk. We love it when we do, and we just can't stop
That's
sometimes.
right. We love talking about music and we love talking about it with you guys. So,
Mhm.
once again, thank you all so much for hanging out with us today and choosing to spend some time with us on the Song Swap Showdown. We will be here next week for another episode, another live episode of Song Swap Showdown. So make sure you tune in on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube at 8:30, 8:15. Sorry, not 8:30, 8:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to join us here live and participate and throw us comments or questions as we go along. Or once again, check out the replays wherever you get podcasts. We're available on every single podcast
Everywhere.
platform, and you could watch the replays over on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook for the video version of this. So, and by the way, if you've hung in there this long and you'd like to show your support for the show, a very easy way to do that is to hit that follow button wherever you're listening to us, or that share or subscribe button on YouTube, because those things really do help, and it helps to um, for other people to discover the show or
Yeah.
share it with a friend, whatever. We appreciate all those things. So that
Yep.
kind of support is stuff that we love. And whether it's our show or another show that you love,
Yes.
follow them, hit that follow button, subscribe, whatever, share their show. Like it doesn't have to be us. Like do it to any of your favorite podcasters or favorite YouTubers or whoever you're supporting, whatever content creator that's out there. Please do the same for them, because I'm telling you, speaking on behalf of all content creators,
Mhm.
it really matters. It really,
It's
really matters.
I don't wanna say it's better than money because we like money too, but it really that is the foolproof way of helping your favorite creators grow.
Absolutely. 100%. Well said, Amanda Sharp.
Thank you.
So, with all that, we will see you next time. Another episode of the Song Swap Showdown. Everybody have a genius and amazing day. And make sure you listen to more hip hop. Listen to more hip hop. Check out our playlist. Listen to these songs. Go down a rabbit hole. Revisit some of these records because they are awesome.
Absolutely.
All right. See you guys soon.
Bye.